What's up? D&D Samurai here. How are you guys all doing? This is my first video, and I hope you enjoy. So today is the first episode in a 2-video series. This one focuses on character creation, while the other one focuses on the statistics of the game and mainly gameplay. Okay, so let's go into it. So before you play the game, you need a character, and this character acts as yourself while you're in the game world. And so you need to create a good character that will represent you good, whether it's a halfling rogue, a ranger elf, or a human druid. It just depends on what you want and how you want to represent yourself. So before we get started creating your character, you're going to want to get 3 sheets. There's a link to how you can print these out in the description. So this first one has your scores, your weapons, your armor class, your feats, and your inventory, as well as your coin purse. Next one has your inventory, basically, and your character details. And this third one, a couple classes don't have it, but it holds your spells. And so it's good for recording your spells and like damage and stuff. Another thing you'll want before starting is the player's handbook. It's not absolutely necessary, but it is recommended because it is quite challenging to make up races and classes, which I will be covering in another video. But for now, it's good to stick with this and just the character basics. Okay, so demonstrating today, I thought I'd like to create a halfling rogue. And so you turn to page 26 in the character's handbook, and it gives a small description based on the race and the people, as well as how they interact with other on-player characters and like what sort of disposition they have. And if you turn on the next page, it has the race characteristics. So your ability score increase. In this case, your dexterity score increases by 2 because of halfling nimbleness. And then your age. Halflings reach adulthood about the age of 20 and generally live into the middle of his or her second century, so in their hundreds. Alignment. Most halflings are lawful and good. As a rule, they are good-hearted and kind and hate to see others in pain. They have no tolerance for oppression. They are very orderly and traditional, leaning heavily on the support of their community and comfort of their old ways. It also gives their size, their speed, and several other characteristics. Halfling, for example, lucky, brave, and halfling nimbleness. Then it gives a description of the languages they know, and most often there are subclasses. And the subclasses will normally give you 1 or more ability score increase and 1 other feature. And so I'm going to write down my dexterity increase is by 2. And since I want my character to be relatively young, I'm going to make him 23. His alignment will be lawful good because he was raised in a lawful home and likes order. Size, he'll be 3 foot 5 inches and weigh 45 pounds because he's sort of large for the race. He has a base walking speed of 25 feet, has the lucky, brave, and halfling nimbleness trait. As well as languages, he knows common and halfling. In many races, common is one language that all characters in D&D know, which is like sort of like the basic language. And then other races besides humans also know their normal language. And so my halfling knows halfling and common. Okay. And then he's also going to have a sub race, and I'm going to choose Lightfoot because he's a rogue. And so like sneaking around and using words to confuse people. So he's a Lightfoot. And he has a charisma score increased by 1. And he is naturally stealthy. And right here, I'm recording all the racial traits for him for a later reference because it's important, because when I have my character sheets right here, I'm going to need all this info on here to record it. So next, I'm going to go to the class feature. And there are many different classes, and they each focus on different abilities and scores. So you have your Barbarian, your Bard, your Cleric, your Druid, your Fighter, your Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard. My character today will be a Rogue, so I'm going to turn to his page. So it will give like what your class sort of focuses on and where they come from and recommended backgrounds. And it will also give quick build features which recommend what your class should do for your creation. And so my hit points, you have hit die, which is 1d8 per rogue level. In hit points at first level, you have 8 plus Constitution modifier. And hit points at higher levels, 1d8 or 5 plus Constitution modifier. For proficiencies, which is your proficiency is what you're proficient with. Like you can, like you're really good with something. So for armor, he's proficient with light armor. Weapons, he's proficient with simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, short swords, and tools, he's proficient with thieves' tools, and dexterity and intelligence saving throws. And saving throws are like skills, basically, sort of. And then you have skills, and since rogues focus on skill and precision, you have more than the average player, which is 4 from acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. So now I'm going to take out my character sheet, and I have my little whiteboard handy because that's what you can have, and a pencil is good to have as well, so you can write down stuff. And so my class level is a Rogue 1, and my player name. So my proficiency bonus for a level normal 1 character is +2. And for ability checks, you have 6 ability scores, which you can choose, and you can either bargain for like your ability things. You have a total of 27, and then you split it out evenly among your scores by purchasing it, which you can find in the character handbook, or you can choose 5 scores, which are 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. And these are just recommended, and so I'll do that today. And so my dexterity score, I'm going to put as my highest for 15, and so I'll just write it on the side. I'll also want a high charisma because it's like my force of influence in the world. And let me explain what the scores are. And dexterity is like your ability to move around and like how agile you are. Your strength is like how athletic, like physically strong. Your constitution is your endurance and stamina. Your intelligence is your ability to remember stuff and retain information. Wisdom is how you how your perception is in the outside world. And charisma is how you affect others and push your will into the world. And so I'm going to put a high score in charisma and dexterity because those are important. I'm also going to put one in constitution because that's a good score to have for everybody. And then I'll want reasonably high in strength for athletic, and wisdom, I'm going to want a relatively high score at 10 and 8 for intelligence. And now I take my increases that I got from my racial traits, and I'm going to increase my dexterity by 2, so I end up with a final of 17. And my charisma score is 15 because I get an increase, but the other ones stay the same. So 10, 8, 13, and 12. And for each of these bonuses, you get increases based on how high of a score you have. So 17 equals a plus 3. 15 equals a plus 2. Constitution is 13, so that's a plus 1. Strength is plus 1 as well because it's a 12. Wisdom is plus 0 because it's 10, and that's the like even ground, like you're not good or you're not bad. And then 8 is below normal, so you're going to get a minus 1 for intelligence. And yeah, so my hit die, I have 1d8 because of my rogue level, and my hit points is 8 plus my constitution modifier. And my constitution modifier is plus 1, so I'm going to have 9 beginning hit points. And for this armor class, for later, you're going to want to put your dexterity modifier, which is plus 3. And my speed is 25 feet. So, for character specifics, I'm going to put a height of 3'5". His weight will be 45 pounds. He's going to have green eyes, and he'll be 23 years old. His skin is fair, almost ruddy, and his hair will be blonde. Next, I'm going to choose, and this is what I've filled out so far on my sheet. And so I have my 2 sheets that are partially filled out. And so my character name will be Minimus because he's a halfling rogue. His race is halfling, and his alignment is lawful good. Okay, and features. He has the lucky feature for halfling, brave feature, and halfling nimbleness. So this is where I put everything. The hit points and hit die are right here. And this is the saving throw thing. So if you drop below 0 hit points, but don't die outright, you can make a saving throw. And saving throws will be explained in my next video, so make sure to watch that. Okay, so now it's time to choose my skills. I have saving throws, and dexterity and intelligence. So in the box right here, where it has the diamond shaped thing, you're going to fill in it for dexterity and intelligence. And then also I get to choose 4 skills from acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. And since I'm a rogue, I'm going to want high scores in sleight of hand, like taking stuff like pickpocketing, opening a lock, stealth for sneaking around, which is my 2 out of 4. I'm going to also want acrobatics for like how nimble I am, and deception, so I can do stuff. And okay, next I am going to go to the next page, and I'm going to choose my equipment. And my beginning equipment for a rogue is I can choose a rapier or a short sword. And so I'm going to choose a rapier because those are a good weapon. They do 1d8 piercing damage, and they are finesse and light, so they can be handled in both hands for 2 weapon attacking. And so in my first weapon column right here, I'm going to do rapier, type, short thrusting blade. Range is 5 feet. The average range for a weapon, unless it has the reach tag, is 5 feet. And it's going to deal 1d8 piercing damage, 1d8 P, and the cost in gold we will see later. So my next one is a short bow and a quiver of 20 arrows, or a short sword. And I'm going to choose the short sword because he's going to be more of a close-up fighter, like attack. So I'm going to do short sword, 5 feet range, and 1d8 piercing. And if you want to find equipment, you can turn to chapter 5 in your book, and it gives a list of all weapons that you will commonly encounter. So my rapier is a finesse weapon, and my short sword is a finesse light. And it also gives the cost for the weapon. So my rapier costs 25 GP, and GP is the common monetary exchange, and my short sword is going to cost 10 GP. For next in equipment, I can choose a burglar's pack, a dungeoneer's pack, or an explorer's pack. Also labeled in equipment, you can choose a pack, and it also tells what the pack contains. And so I'm going to choose the burglar's pack because it includes ball bearings and many other things. So I'm going to choose a burglar's pack and put it in my accessible items. And so this is what we're going to do. And so now I have some of my equipment figured out, and I also get leather armor, which has an AC of 12 plus my constitution modifier. Dexterity, so armor is 12. And so I can now calculate my constitution, my AC, which is my armor class. And so it's 12 plus 3 equals 15 for my armor class. And that's reasonably good. Now I'm going to add several features such as expertise, and I can choose 2 of my skill proficiencies and 1 of my skill with these tools, and my proficiency is doubled for any ability checks that I use as either of the chosen proficiencies. So I can double my proficiency with these checks. So instead of +2 for, say, acrobatics, I get a +4, which is really good. So I can just label, I want a +4 in sleight of hand and +4 in stealth, since I'm proficient with both of those. I also gain sneak attack, which I deal an extra 1d6 on my opponent when they are surprised. So it's like sneak attack. And then I also gain Thieves' Cant, which is like a secret jargon, like language that you can use to code and give messages. And that is all I have for first level. Now we will move on to character specifics. And this is where you really flesh out your character and really give him like who he is and like his personality and his background and where he came from. His passive wisdom, as well, before I forget, your passive wisdom, which is like a quick roll to know where everything is your proficiency bonus. So this is +0 because it's my wisdom, and I have a +0 bonus for that. And my inspiration. And now let's move on. So you choose your name and gender, and you can use either without having hindrances or bonuses. And height and weight, there's the recommended height and weight and how you can randomly determine your height. I just chose because you could do that as well. And then it gives sample for alignments. And I already chose my alignment, and I already have my languages, which you can also put in your character details feature, common and halfling. And then I go to my personality traits, and I can have ideals, bonds, flaws, and personality traits, and they just flesh out my character and give who he is. And so you also choose background, and that they give you an amount of personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws that you can choose from, which are recommended. You can also come up with one for with your DM. Sorry, had to blow my nose. Okay. So since I'm a rogue, I'm gonna want to choose either urchin or either the urchin background or the criminal background. And my character is going to be an urchin. He's been on the streets his whole life without, he's only had one friend, and that's his guidance. His only friend has been an old man who taught him all his skills. And so it gives you a personality trait, and you roll dice. And say I rolled and got a 4. I get the personality trait for that. And you roll for all of them, and you flesh out your character. And so after you finish with that, you fill out your sheets with this in the character manual, or you can come up with your own. And then you also get a feature that's like a bonus for your background. And after that, you calculate your money. So urchin, you get proficiencies in sleight of hand and stealth, which I already have. So I don't really get a bonus. I also get proficiencies in disguise kit and thieves' tools. And I get equipment. I get a small map, a small knife, and a pet mouse, a token you remember your parents by, and a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 GP. So I'm going to put 10 GP in my coin purse, so I know how much money I have, and as well as in my accessible items, map, knife, and common clothes, and a token. And if you're looking for a token, you can look in the equipment chapter, and there's a table for which you can roll on. And you can roll a D100, and it will help you find your token. And after that, you have your background, your character is fleshed out and ready to get started in the game. And so I'm going to write my name right here before I go so I know what label it is. And there you have your character. It's all completed and ready to play. So I'm going to show you my finished sheet, and I have my ability scores, my equipment, my money, my features, my speed, my top list describing my character, and my armor class, my hit points, and my weapons. I also have my character specifics right here. And then you can also draw your character right here, but I won't do that right now. And that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot. And I hope you join us next time for my next video in how to use your new character and get started in the basics of role-playing game. D&D Samurai signing out. Hope to see you again.